All right, so this is a quick review on algebra. In physics this year, there are going to be times when you will need to take a formula and rearrange it in order to solve for a particular unknown. So we're just going to review a little bit how you go about rearranging an algebraic equation to solve for a particular variable. Okay, so a few general hints to work from. Unfortunately, there's no like one set algorithm to follow, but there are a few general rules of thumb that we can use for us. Okay, first hint is to work backwards through PEMDAS. Now, PEMDAS, if you recall, is the order of operations, and it stands for P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents, M stands for multiplication and division, and A and S stands for addition and subtraction, right? So that's the order that we do things when we are trying to just straight out chug through some arithmetic. But when we are solving an algebraic equation, we have to undo all of those things. So we have to work backwards. We first work by undoing any addition or subtraction, then we undo any multiplication or division, then we undo any exponents, and finally we undo anything within the parentheses. Okay, and we'll go through a couple examples so you can kind of see what that looks like a little bit better. Another general hint is to combine like terms. If you're solving for x and x appears on both sides of the equation, you want to combine those two x's together, get them on one side of the equation. All right? And then my last general hint is if the unknown that you're trying to solve for is in the denominator of a fraction, you want to get that thing out of the denominator. That is the worst, okay? We never want the thing that we're solving for in the denominator. So try to multiply to get it out of there, all right? Now, let's go through a couple of examples that kind of show these different principles in practice, okay? So our first example says f equals g big M times little m all divided by r squared. We are trying to solve for r. Okay. Now the first thing that I notice here is that the thing that I'm solving for, r, is in the denominator of a fraction. I do not like that. I'm going to get it the heck out of there by multiplying both sides of the equation by r squared. Okay, I have to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. That is key. I can never do something just to one side and not to the other. All right. Now, if I multiply this right side by r squared, now I've got it in the denominator and in the numerator, so it cancels. So now I've got f times r squared is equal to big G, big M times little m. Okay, so now my r is out of the denominator. I'm feeling better. Now we just go and undo all the things that are happening to that r. So I see two things happening to this r right now. For one, it's being multiplied by f, and the other thing is it has an exponent of 2. Now if we go back to that whole reverse order of operations, I know I'm going to want to undo the multiplication before I undo the exponent. So let's do that. So I'm going to undo the multiplication. So in order to undo multiplying by f, I'm going to divide both sides by f, since dividing is the opposite of multiplying. These cancel out. So that gives me r squared is equal to g big M little m divided by f. And now all I need to do is undo the exponent. Okay, now in order to undo an exponent of 2, all I need to do is square root, and I have to square root both sides, all of both sides. Now the square root and the square cancel out, and that gives me r is equal to the square root of this whole thing, g big M little m over f. Everything is in that square root right there. All right. So there's our first example. See, what we had to do was we had to get the r out of the denominator by multiplying, and then we undid all the things that were happening to the r going in reverse order of operations. Let's try another example. All right. So another example is f equals v plus at, and we want to solve for t. Okay. Now my t is not in a denominator, so that's good. Now I just need to figure out what are the things that are happening to this t. I see two things happening to this t. One is that it's being multiplied by a, And the other thing is that we are adding v to it. Now, again, we want to go in reverse order of operations, so we're going to start by undoing any addition or subtraction. Okay, so in order to undo this addition of v, I'm going to subtract v from both sides. That's going to cancel, and so I get f minus v equals at. Now all that's happening is I'm multiplying a times t. In order to undo that multiplication, I'm going to divide. So that these a's cancel. And so then I'm left with t equals f minus v all divided by a, the whole thing. Right? So that was just a quick little review of a few algebra problems. If you have further questions, you should, of course, feel free to talk to me. Thanks.